Wilson Morales from Black Film TV talking to Munroe Bergdorf regarding her doc, Love and Rage. Munroe Bergdorf, how are you?
I'm really well, thank you so much. How are you?
Good. It's never easy talking about your life and then putting it on camera. What led you to say yes to say, okay, I want it, I want the story to be told.
Because I don't think that trans stories are really told that often, whilst we can tell them ourselves. It's often people talking about us or assuming things about us or stories being told for us when we're gone. So to have a major film studio like Universal Documentaries come to me and say, we want to document this point in time where the trans community are being assaulted, attacked, dehumanized, character assassinated, and also humanize it. So to show your story as an individual, but also open it up to the community on both sides of the Atlantic as well. We talk about what it's like to be trans in America worldwide because it's a universal experience with different nuances as you move through the world. But I think in this moment right now, it's super important, and it's a privilege to be able to tell my story.
Throughout your life, you've had ups and downs. You've had the glory, the shame, if you want to call it that, in terms of like, it's always a topsy-turvy, you know? And so you never know at what point anything can happen at any given instant, like we live in a world right now where you express your views, you don't know who's going to agree with it or not, and then you don't know what the outcome of it is.
Yeah.
So like at the end of the day, for those who've seen your work and seen your success and failures to some extent, what are they gonna get that they haven't seen already from the countless interviews you've done already?
Um, Me talking about it from my perspective, in a medium that you get to see a 360 expression of the humanity behind those moments. Um, I don't really think of them as failures.
Yeah, well, yeah, that was the wrong choice of words. Yeah,
No, it's okay. I mean, I think that they could be perceived as failures, and I think that at some point I have maybe felt that they were failures, but being in this time right now, and understanding how everything leads on from everything else, that I wouldn't be this person if I hadn't gone through those experiences. Like, I don't think I could at this point see them as failures. I definitely see them as obstacles and an
yeah, that's probably
adversary.
that is the right word. The obstacles you faced. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The obstacles you face. You can say something, all of a sudden you never know what company who's
Yeah.
supporting you wants to think, because
Oh, for sure.
it's never one person that makes a decision. It's a committee.
Yeah,
When it
for
comes to
sure.
business.
Mhm.
So those are and like I said, it's not failures, more like you said, obstacles that to come
Yeah.
your way and how to overcome them.
I think that's the price of progress, and challenging the status quo. We don't get progress and we don't get to a better place if we don't challenge what is. And there are people that have an investment in what is. What is how people are making their money. What is how people retain control over others. What is domineering and manipulating and maintaining a system of largely abuse, whether that's racism or whether that's exploitative foreign policy, or whether or not that's homophobia, misogyny, classism, ableism, all of these things, keeping them as they are. There are people who have an investment in that. And speaking up comes with conflict. It comes with often loss or failure or adversity or however you want to see it. But it's always worth it because we're fighting for not just ourselves, but for the future of society so that other people get to live in a better society than the one that we're living in now. We as Black people and as a queer person, I get to live the life that I live because my ancestors fought for it. And many of them died without seeing that change. So I don't think that we should necessarily be fighting to see the change. We should be fighting because it's the right thing to do. And I'm willing to take those failures or to fall down or to fight through those moments of difficulty because I know that it's worth something greater than what I have right now. And that might not just be for me, it may be for a future version of me.
I always wonder when anybody put themselves on camera, at what point, when you're filming and you look at the videos and so forth, the edits, was there a point you said, add this in or add this out? With a documentary, there's so much footage. The MVP is the editor. I'm saying in terms of
Yeah.
how to make this story constructive and cohesive enough so that we, the audience, can get it in terms of what you're trying to tell us. So how much involved were you with the editing in terms of how you wanted your story to be structured out?
I was yeah, I was active, but you don't want to have too much of a say, because then you're making a film for yourself rather than about yourself.
Okay.
And I think that the difference is really important to make. I didn't want this to be something for my ego. I wanted this to be a contribution, and sometimes you need to step out and just be like, maybe I don't know best right here. There was things during the editing process that I, didn't like and that I genuinely didn't necessarily feel were necessary to the narrative. And that's a conversation that you have. And I was just kind of like, well, maybe not this. Maybe we've seen this before, maybe this, and then someone else will lead on and be like, oh my God, yeah, what about this? And like, I think that that's teamwork, and we got to a really great place with it. And I feel really excited about all of the different things that the team have contributed. I think most of my contribution is in the filming and saying, I think we should capture this and, or like, pushing past feelings of discomfort when I didn't want something to be captured that should have been captured and that eventually was captured. So I think it's a constant to and fro with comfort zones, and there's many things in the film that I'm not comfortable with, but that's important, and it's important that people see, me in vulnerable states as well as moments of joy, and that you get the full, I don't particularly love the idea of crying on camera, but I think it's important to see, the wholeness of somebody expressing their pain as well as their joy. So yeah, it was a real experience, and I learned so much about documentary filmmaking that I didn't know. So Olivia and Dee really held my hand through that whole moment, and yeah, I really grew as a result.
What was your first opinion when you first saw the finished cut? I know people say that they don't like to see themselves on camera, whether they're doing an interview or something else. But when you first saw it, did anything change within yourself in terms of like how you're expressing yourself? In terms, did you what did you get out of this documentary moving forward?
Ugh. I mean, I'm used to seeing myself, obviously. So it was deeper than that, though. Well, when the credits rolled, after I watched the first cut, I just burst into hysterical tears. I was really kind of inconsolable because, for me, watching the film back, it's like a series of home videos rather than a film because it's difficult to, um, to not see yourself that way, because these are my experiences, and then I think about how I felt in that moment rather than like kind of having that wall. So it's difficult for me to be impartial, but I definitely struggled with the vulnerability and, to see myself in pain and to feel that again, when I rewatched it was really tough. I feel really proud of myself. I think I feel proud in contributing something to the culture and to, again, future versions of me, or, even trans people who haven't been born yet, who are going to look back and think, oh, what was it like to be trans in 2025? And have a documentation of the political and media assault in our community, which is really only being told from one narrative, and that's an anti-trans one. So to show a trans life, to document a trans community, to provide indisputable evidence that we exist when we're being told that we don't, to hopefully get people questioning their own thoughts and opinions that they may have passively absorbed through the media or through politics, and to just think, why do I want to stop another human being expressing their freedom? How does that make sense? If I'm not trans and I don't want to transition, why do I want to stop someone else from transitioning? If I'm not Muslim, why do I want to stop someone practicing Islam? If I don't want an abortion, why do I want to stop somebody else? We need to take our own feelings and discriminations that we have absorbed, that we may have absorbed, and stop projecting it onto other people and just recognize that there's many different ways to be human, and how anybody else expresses their freedoms should be encouraged. It shouldn't be minimized and curtailed. It should be something that we should learn from each other with. So I hope that that's what people take away from the film.
Well said. I want to say thanks for taking the time to speaking with me regarding your story. Let's get this out so that people know about it, and hopefully it'll affect their lives in one way or another. And hopefully that whatever projects come up down the road that reaches my lane, we'll talk again. But have yourself a
Thank
great
you.
day. Take care.
Thanks so much, Wilson. Bye.
Bye.